Hello.
Pumped.
Happy Friday.
Welcome. Welcome,
You chose really good
everybody.
music.
Yeah,
Welcome.
it.
Happy Friday.
I generated that song with Suno, our new
Oh, did
favorite
you really?
AI song generator. Yeah.
I remember when ChatGPT first came out. Well, actually, like a year after it came out, I was telling you one of the projects I had worked on it with it, and you were like, "I still haven't used it yet." A year afterward, and now look at you. You're a regular AI expert.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know about the expert part, but regular AI person.
Usage guy.
Usage guy.
Well, happy Friday
Ah,
to you, man.
yeah. It's a good Friday. It's been all meetings this morning, but now I get to do this live stream, which is my highlight of the week.
Yes. Oh, and I see Sam is waving to us.
Hello,
Happy
Sam.
Friday night, Sam. Appreciate, what time is it over there? 6 p.m. Happy
Still,
Friday night,
yeah.
evening. This is like the perfect time in the UK, I think. I'm not from there, but where it's like, let's get a beer and wind down. 5
It's
p.m.
fine.
He said
It's
it's
5
5
p.m.
p.m.
It might still be that time to
Yeah,
get
I
a
just didn't
beer
check
and
that way.
wind down.
Oh, it's definitely, yeah, 5 o'clock absolutely is.
You
Uh,
know what they say, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'll switch from
that is
coffee to
true.
beer. No.
Yeah, if we were in Spain, that would have been like 6 hours ago when it started on a Friday.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so today, new series today, brand new series
Yes.
today. We're going to be kicking off a new series. How simply can we build it? And I just have to do a quick story real fast on this one. And it's from when you and I were working together for our friend OG. And quick
Oh
story
yeah.
about OG. OG's real name is Andrew. And he was, when Andres and I started Cloud Teams 5 years ago, 6 years ago,
Six.
it was like four of us. It was my boss, me, you, OG, and like one other person. So it was only Andrew on the team. And about a month in, we got another Andrew on the team. So, there were like six of us total, and two of us were named Andrew. So we just said that we can't have that. We have to know which Andrew we're talking about. So we called the original Andrew OG.
And
So didn't call him Andrew at all. And then we ended up calling the other Andrew just his initials, AF. So nobody ended up being called Andrew at all on our team.
yeah, that's true. And to this date, he is called OG. Even when we're talking to external people, he's the OG. Um,
Yeah, he saved
most of
as
the time
OG
I
on
had,
my phone.
yeah, yeah, mine too. It's so much simpler.
But with that story aside, this is really an homage to him because when you and I were talking about design, system design in the cloud and serverless and everything, we would have a full design. We would show it to the team, and OG would say, "Why don't we just do it this way?"
Yeah.
And it was like orders of magnitude easier, simpler than what we had come up with. And you and I could pretty much never prove him wrong why we wouldn't do it easier. And so,
Yeah. He usually had a good point and always
yes,
made you take a step back. It's like, okay, thank you for
yes,
making
let
this
me
all
see the
easier on
forest
us.
through the trees. Yes. So that's what this whole series is about. It's let's do it simply. Let's take a step back. Let's look. There's what we're going to be building today is it's a chat app with an LLM. That's really what we're going to be building. We're just doing it with a fun Disney flair. And there are 100 of those out there that you could find in a single Google search. But uh, they're not easy. They're not that simple. There's a whole lot to them, and they don't have to be that hard. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna show you how simple it can actually be to build something like this. Um, a full quiz app, full multi-question quiz app that's just like anything that you've taken online. So this is going to be, what Disney character are you? And it's going
Yep.
to ask a couple of questions. And Andres, you and I were working earlier this week on the funny flair for this quiz. How can we make it unique? And so we're gonna have it ask kind of personal questions. More things
Yes.
that aren't just, do you like rabbits or do you like singing birds? A lot more.
Cinderella or Rapunzel, I guess.
Yeah, I think both of those were Snow White, but
Eh. Oh
um,
yeah, it's Snow White. What? Oh well.
yeah. So I
Mm,
take it then with that, those aren't your dresses in the back that I see.
yeah, no. This I'm actually surprised, and I set this up in like 2 minutes before jumping on the stream. But I was like, my daughter's has to have princess dresses. So I opened her closet and found not just one, not just two, but how many do I have here? Six dresses. Look pretty cool. Now I want to go to
Dude.
Disney and have her wear one each day.
I think at my house we have the Anna one that you have, the Rapunzel one, and we have like 12 Ariel ones. Like every single thing that she's ever worn, we have.
Nice.
I don't have the Snow White or the other ones.
Yeah,
Anyway, so you
I
and I
think
are
these
both,
were
yeah.
I think these were inherited. Maybe nieces, my older nieces. Uh, I don't remember buying these.
That's how I feel about the majority of the things in my house.
Yeah.
Uh, so you and I are both 90s kids. So the Disney
Yes.
quiz really is just kind of right up our alley. I asked you earlier this week when we were coming up with the idea on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Disney songs? And you told me, what did you tell me?
150 or something like that.
You said 99.
Okay.
Calm it down a little bit, man.
Whew.
But yeah, it's perfect for us. And I was trying this morning to get Disney music for us to play in the background while we're coding, but it's all just like heavily copyrighted. And I first of all, I don't want to get fined. Second of all, I don't want to take the chance and have this video taken down after the fact because we're listening to Disney.
Yep.
So we'll just listen to
And
something.
yeah, we don't want to, yeah, cease and desist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why Disney, why we got prompted with Disney was because you were sharing, just to share with everybody, there's like a pop punk Disney album out now with like Simple Plan and Yellow Card and Mayday Parade. So we've been listening to that all week. It's like, oh, this is nice. That just got released. Uh, so that got us into the whole Disney vibe.
That did. I worked out to that album this morning.
Nice, nice.
Yes. Probably listened to it. No kidding, like 20 times. Okay. So I'm just gonna turn on a random music. It's not Disney. It is what it is. Let's
You,
talk about what we're actually gonna build. So the goal today really is one Lambda function. And on top of that, the goal is don't make it a monolith. So I don't want us to be building like one Lambda function that has 10 endpoints in it that all do different things. I want get/quiz. That's what I want us to build. And every time I call it, it progresses me until it finally tells me who I am.
sweet.
So
Yeah.
how's
So
that
it's
sound?
interesting because that's interesting because I mean you use more than just the code, right? And it's what's around the code, right? So if you were using API Gateway, how do you progress from something pre-existing to the next step and all that? So that's where it's going to get interesting.
Yes.
And I'm excited for. Excited to see.
Yes,
Excited
good.
to try it out.
Good. Now, usually we just dive straight into the code. And I want to do that, but I worked too hard on figuring out how to solve this challenge. I do actually think it needs a little bit of an explainer prior.
Yep.
So I'm going to bring up the thought process. Oop, hold on. Windows are jumping around. There we go. The thought process that I had, and we'll go from there.
Sweet.
Let's share this guy. Okay. So here
Zoom
it
in
is.
a little bit.
Okay, sure. Oh no.
Oh, that didn't do what you wanted. There we
No.
go.
Oh, this is embarrassing. Hold on. There we go. I swear I've built APIs before. I swear.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so like I said, it's one endpoint and we're doing full stack. So we're actually going to be rendering user interface as well inside of this Lambda function in addition to all the backend processing. So our one Lambda function, really the key to this whole thing, to making this successful with one Lambda function and minimizing the complexity, is using Momento for state management. It's going to be doing the state management for like where we are in the quiz. And then it's also going to be holding the conversation history that we're going to be having with that LLM that, basically tracks all the answers that you've said so far.
Sweet. So it's essentially using it as your data store, right? And
yes,
since these are once and repeat kind of thing, you're not going back through like, oh, I was Elsa one time and then I was Ariel. You just know, and then you share it on social media and become famous. So
yes,
it's fine.
Yes. Now, if we have time, I don't know if we will. I do have this last call path here that basically deletes the stuff out of the cache that we're going to be using for state management. So you can restart a subsequent time. But really, I'm going to be happy if we can just get through the one time.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about it super fast, and then we can get into the code. So one Lambda function, and this Lambda function, the first time that you call it, is going to, well, every time that you call it, it's going to check the cache. It's going to see, have I talked with you before? Now, how do we identify you? We're just going to use your IP address. Inside of AWS, this is going to be backed behind an HTTP API and API gateway. Inside of the request, or the event that comes in from API gateway, it has the IP address. And we can use that as your unique identifier, so we don't have to go through all the setup of what's your username, and that's totally unnecessary for what we're doing.
It's anonymous.
Yes. So IP based, that's how we can get different user sessions. So it's going to check, have I talked to you before? No, I haven't. We're going to immediately kick off the LLM with our big prompt. That's going to be a lot of what we do with this prompt engineering thing. That's going to be, you're going to do a quiz. You're going to be talking to this person and ask them personal questions. You're trying to figure out what Disney character they are. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they a man? Are they a woman? Whatever. Ask them questions that, disregard social norms, and ask them embarrassing questions if you want, kind of thing. It'll return an answer. And then what we'll do with that answer is we will build HTML to serve back to the caller, so we can do it here in the browser and just embed that question inside of the HTML. And then nice. You'll have the question, you'll have an input. You do the input, you hit the button. That button will say what you type in the input inside of Momento cache, because you can access the Momento resources both from the server side and the client side, which is super cool.
Beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
And that's how we're getting around this one Lambda function thing.
Yep.
So it's going to save that to the cache, and then it's going to, in the browser, it's just going to call a refresh, window.location.reload. And what that's going to do is it's going to end up calling this Lambda function again, this API again. And it's basically going to run through, again, have I seen you before? Yes. Let me pull your answer out of the cache. Let me feed that to the LLM in that conversation history that we've retained, and then give you the next question. I saw you laughing. What are you laughing at?
I'm kind of jealous now, but it's Daryl recognizing your tiara more than my dresses, but it's fine.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you.
Sandwalk has it. He just realized your AirPods are not princess earrings. That's awesome. Yep.
I hope you guys are paying attention to what I was saying and not just analyzing what I'm wearing.
That's what they seem to watch us.
That's right. So funny.
Great.
Okay. So does that make sense to you, Andres?
It does.
Great.
So it's keeping state in the cache, keeping the history in the cache. Yep. And that's based on the IP. You can get the current state to make sure what step you're on to move forward to the next and ask the next question. This is we're intending to use Bedrock, right, with Claude?
Yep. I did my best to put the Bedrock logo right there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can see it if you squint. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Cool. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And if we get to it, you'll delete the whole session. And be done with it.
Yep.
Cool.
So in my proof of concept phase, I just have to make sure everybody knows Andres and I don't come into this completely unprepared. We do work a little
Sometimes,
bit.
but
Yes. Last week I think was an exception. We do prepare ahead of time. I don't build the full thing ahead of time, but I do kind of get ready to put my ducks in a row so you guys don't watch the boring parts. I don't want you guys watching the initial deployment and trying to figure out the unimportant parts that are irrelevant to the stream. So I was testing the chat history stuff with Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and we're not going to use that because this Lambda function is synchronous. We're not going to see anything on the page until that conversation is done with the LLM and we build the HTML and we return it back in the response. Now, from my tests, Sonnet was taking like 7 to 11 seconds to give me a response. Even if it was as simple as me saying A. If it gave me like two things, do you like A this or B this? And I'd just say A. It would take about 11 seconds to respond. So we are going to use a slightly less capable but faster model, Haiku. So that's still Claude 3, but it is that kind of minimum tier. Now, in my testing that I did a couple days ago on it, it was responding in about 2 seconds, which is still a little bit higher in the tolerance range than I like, but it is acceptable, at least for what we're going to be doing here.
Do you think there's others that could get it in better times? I don't think these are meant to be synchronous like we're doing, but
yeah, I'm sure there are. There are. I think OpenAI has a couple of instant models. I haven't used them because pretty much everything that I do with LLMs these days is either completely asynchronous or streams the response. So it doesn't really matter. They don't really have that streaming capability right now because of the nature of what we're building. But it is what it is. Okay.
I'm
ready to build?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So I do have pieces that I'm going to end up copying and pasting eventually, but we are also going to use an LLM to build some of the HTML for us because I'm not super great at that. Now, Andres, have you done server-side rendering in Lambda before?
I have not. And while talking to you, I know you've been playing around with that and super excited to see how you're doing that. All right, how to do that. So yeah, I haven't done it. I've heard about it. Haven't dug into doing it myself.
I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool.
Based on what you mentioned, it seemed legit pretty awesome. And it kind of takes the UI to kind of where we shine a little bit more, which is the back end.
Yes. Don't have to worry about that nearly as much. Now, I'm not going to take it as far as what like Luca Mezzalira talks about. I'm not going to say we're building a micro front end. We're absolutely not doing that. We are building a complete basic HTML page with embedded JavaScript in there on a Lambda function and then returning that to the browser for it to run on the client side. So we're going to go 90s style. In true Disney fashion, we're going 90s style on the page that we're going to be building. So let's bring in VS Code onto over here. Okay, so probably the most important thing.
You need to switch.
I thought I was sharing the whole window, but apparently not.
What you hiding, Alan?
Was it try? Oh, okay. It was a game of semantics here. I did window instead of entire screen, thinking they meant the same thing.
There's OG.
There he is.
90s style. You can't be that bad.
I don't really know.
Yeah, don't be crap. Just laugh.
I'm kind of nervous. I'm nervous now that OG's on the stream. He's gonna say, "Why are you doing it that way?"
Yeah, maybe he does what he does and tell us to make it even simpler. So we'll see.
Okay, so probably the most important thing before we start, Andres, what animal do you want me to put in the corner here?
Ooh, let's do a horse.
Oh wow, it has options for the horse.
Socks beige.
You
Oh,
don't want a
magical.
warrior horse?
No, I want
Yeah.
magical.
Yeah,
It
makes
lines
sense.
up with our theme.
Okay. And then we'll just name it Hugo, I guess. Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
there's a rainbow. It's awesome.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so I have a repo that I maintain. It's actually pretty small right now, but that's okay because it will end up getting bigger. It's called my Momento Bag of Tricks. And really what this is, it's just quick starts for capabilities that I build a lot that other people can completely take advantage if they want. So what I have in here right now is the chat functionality with Bedrock. So this is going to be a full message retention, like conversation history retention, all handled for you automatically using environment variables. So it's like a super, super low lift to do back and forth conversation style chats with an
Nice.
LLM. So I'm just going to copy that and bring that over into here. So I've been doing this. I've been doing this nested folder structure bag of, and then I've been calling it tricks.
I like it.
So,
I just have a tool. I usually just have a tools folder and just have random JavaScript scripts.
yeah, that's just not nearly as fun. So we're going to do import chat from bag of tricks. Okay, and I do have IntelliSense in here, which is also nice. So we can see what it does here. So this chat command is going to prompt an LLM. It can be used for one-shots or conversations. And then it has the Momento API key, cache name environment variable, and then the model ID, which is the one that we're going to be using inside of Bedrock. Quick thing to note, if you are going to use this, make sure that model is enabled in your AWS account. Otherwise, you will get an error. And then we have, what permissions it's is required for. So this is the syntax we're going to be using with this chat command. This is going to be providing it a chat ID and the message that is coming back from the user. So the chat ID is going to be the IP address we were talking about. That's how we're uniquely identifying the conversation. And then the message is what they answered.
Nice. Okay.
So there is that. Let's do a couple of preamble things first. So I want to change the header here for the response, because contrary to what you and I normally build, Andres, this is not JSON that we're returning.
Ooh.
Like Q is saying, it is HTML.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so we're text HTML.
So we're going to be responding with text HTML. And so what that means is whenever we hit this endpoint in a browser, it's going to know to translate that response and render it on screen.
Would we need to add, since this is going to be hit from a browser, would we need CORS stuff, CORS headers?
Yeah, yes. I took the liberty of just going ahead and allowing everything right now.
Okay.
So that's one of the things I don't want us to be talking about in this session is CORS.
Just want to make sure we weren't going to hit the endpoint and then get the CORS issue.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, so and just to explain a little bit, that SAM template is it's going into the API gateway and it's injecting that CORS header to every request, right? So we don't have to do it for every endpoint. So it's kind of set globally. Cool.
Yes, thank you for explaining that. So I'm gonna put this here so we can test it and see.
Ooh. Have you done an initial deployment on this?
Yeah. Yes. I probably should be using SamSync, but this is, oh man.
Oh, that's a bad start.
No, you're right.
I haven't touched the code, so.
What's it complaining about?
Hold on.
It worked a second ago. It worked before the stream.
Command failed. Const external. Go up a little bit more.
Oh, you know why? It's because it's trying to use things we didn't install.
Yep. Yeah, you don't have
So
a
let's
package
install that
lock.
Momento SDK. That one's important for this whole thing. It's kind of the key to our success. And then we're also using the Bedrock, what is it? Package. But that one is included inside of the Lambda runtime. So we're just gonna, just for the sake of completeness, we're just gonna do that as a dev dependency.
Yep.
AWS SDK.
And obviously there's,
Client.
while you write this down, there's opinions around, hey, whether you use the one included in the runtime or whether you flat or pin your own version and maintain that. Not part of this conversation, but I recommend reading about it, and I'll try and share some links around it and how it can impact performance and maintenance and all that.
If you'd like a lengthy conversation, just go and say those words to AJ Stivenberg.
That's the person I was thinking about sharing posts from.
Yeah. Super smart guy, done a lot of research on that area. And you know, the short answer, which he probably will not give you the short answer, is package it yourself.
Yep. Yeah. And
okay.
Yeah, I want to keep talking about that, but yeah, we can leave that for another conversation.
Keep talking about it for a minute while this is updating, and then we'll.
Well, yeah, from not as in depth as AJ, but it's why package it yourself and include it yourself instead of using the runtime is because it improves performance, since it doesn't have to go and reach to AWS to pull the npm package or the packages itself. At runtime, you're including them, and it just pulls it from what you already included, right? So if you're using something like ES-build, it's there, right? It's just calling a function. If you're using the runtime, it has to load it from another place.
Thank you.
Did it deploy? Did I make enough time?
It did deploy. I forgot something that's kind of important. I'm copying this from another project, if you couldn't tell.
Why would you do that? That's a terrible thing to do, Alan.
Is it?
No. Highly recommended. If you have your own ways of doing things, templatize them and reuse them. If you're a content creator or do things like we're doing today, like we just like to try random stuff, having those starter templates are super helpful and reduce a lot of the frictions.
Yep. Okay, so this is about to go, and I'm having a hard time seeing it while I'm zoomed in far enough for us to be able to read this.
So one thing I noticed is on the cores, you were just allowing post.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that we'll see if that bites us. Now we're good. So yeah, we got
I still don't understand cores, so it's fine.
I think that's for. Nope, I'm not gonna speculate and be wrong. I don't know. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it there. But you can see this is rendering the div that I had returned. So there we go. Step 1 done. Easy enough. Okay, so let's actually start building this thing. The first thing that we said we were going to doing is using Momento cache to see, have I talked to you before?
Okay.
And
do you know exactly where the IP lives in the event?
Not off the top of my head, but I did build that recently somewhere else, and we can use that. So that one is in. It's actually a game that I'm building right now.
Ooh.
That is showing some integrations between.
Can I get early access?
It's in a public repo, so sure. We're not going to show it today. We're not going to show it today. Okay, so it is events.request.context.http.sourceip. Const key equals
okay. Nice. Copy paste. Love it.
Yes. So let's go ahead and do our normal. If something went wrong, let's log it.
Look, it already knows. Well, yes. I wouldn't do the error per se, but
you just want to do this.
It's fine for now.
Okay. So this is going to be our cache key. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using Momento to check to see at the very beginning, have we talked to you before? So we need to import that. Import.
And this is straight up,
client.
from the Momento client. Cool.
Yes. And the chat history that we're going to be using is going to be kept in a list item. A list is a special data type inside of the cache that keeps a chronological order of strings. So
okay. And that's always ordered based on when the message was entered.
It acts like an array. So there are APIs that you can use to push to the front or go to the back. You can pop. You can do all that fun stuff.
Awesome.
But we're not. Okay. So we're also going to be doing cache list fetch response. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to do const history response equals. Oh, look at that. Hey, that is nice. So this is actually what it's actually what we want. We're going to be looking up the history though. So we're going to call that cache key something different. We're going to do key/history. And I am pretty sure that's what I call it. Let's look at the bag of tricks. Okay, so it's up to us.
Yeah, it was in your documentation. I think you had it in your Excalibur.
Perfect. So really, we're not even going to use it. All we're doing is testing to see if there's a miss. So
if history response dot length, does it return
the best practice, the type here that gets returned is an enum. So the best practice here is to do off of the type. I want that queue response to come back, dang it. Anyway, cache list fetch response dot miss. So let's just write some to-dos right now.
Okay.
Case that, and then this is going to be build initial prompt. Okay, so we followed that, right? Like if there's no chat history, that means this is the first time we're seeing you. Break. And then if we do hit, then we actually need to do something different. So we're not going to do what Q is suggesting. So on subsequent calls, we're going to be pulling that response from the user out of just like a normal cache item, that basically state object.
Okay.
To get what their answer is. And I think that'll come a little bit clearer here in a minute when we get a little bit further down the road. So we're going to do answer equals await cache client dot get.
Just like the good old days, Andrews is providing some feedback for you. Do you want to define the cache client?
Yes, of course I do. Of course. Okay, let's do that right now. Cache client equals new cache client. Now, I'm actually really impressed with the team. I have to give the team a shout out right now. They have drastically improved the initialization of this cache client. It used to require, I don't know,
an options, like another object. I remember a big one.
Yes, yeah. A lot. And now it has reasonable defaults if you don't actually provide anything. So in my bag of tricks here, when I'm declaring it up here, it uses a similar method to what the AWS SDK uses. So it's looking in an environment variable called Momento API key, and that's hard coded in the SDK to look for that specific name.
Nice.
And it pulls that and initializes the client from the environment variable.
It's much easier.
I don't typically recommend setting an API key as an environment variable in Lambda, but we're trying to move fast today.
Yeah, there's yet another post by AJ that talks about different ways to secure that.
Yes, I had a really interesting conversation with him about this specific topic, and he actually says it's fine to do that, to store these. Yeah. So OG wants to know about the TTL. Can you bring that comment up real quick?
Yeah.
So the only property that we passed in to the cache client for Momento is this default TTL seconds. TTL stands for time to live, and everything that goes into the cache inside of Momento is required to have a time to live. When that time expires, the data is killed. That key is destroyed, gone forever. You cannot get it back. So makes cache invalidation pretty easy. A lot tighter SLA than what you get on the TTL for DynamoDB tables that has like a 48-hour SLA for deletion. This is instant, like to the tune of microseconds whenever that expires.
This is just a default that gets put into each item you push into the cache, right? So if you were to have a cache client 2 that has 600 and use that one to push other items into the cache, they would have a different TTL?
Yeah, I mean, I could set it manually if I wanted to inside of an options parameter here.
Okay, I see.
It's called something TTL inside of this options param. So you can set it on an individual key. If you don't explicitly set it, it falls back to this default TTL time.
Cool. Yeah, so it's as close as you can get, and it inherits.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so putting that inside of the constructor, this is a required field. Putting that inside of the constructor guarantees that every item will be evicted, and we're not going to get any orphaned data.
Getting some follow-up questions. So will the user session die at that point? I don't think so. Oh, yeah?
Yes. Well, I mean, because we're keeping state.
Oh, yeah. User session as far as the game. Yes, because that will be lost.
Yes. Now, every time this endpoint is called with the same IP address and subsequently the same key, that TTL is going to be reset. So it's going to be 5 minutes from the last time you were seen.
Nice.
So if you stopped responding, let's say you just leave the page, 5 minutes later your data's gone. I don't have to worry about cleaning it up. It's just gone.
Cool. Is there a max? Is there a max TTL?
Yeah, 24 hours.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. And yeah, Samlock. Did you say the TTL was accurate?
Yes. Yep. Yes. Very, very accurate. Yes.
Nice.
There are times when I first started at Momento almost 2 years ago, it didn't require you to set the default TTL, and I would routinely forget, and it would set the TTL to 0. And so I would write code that was literally set, and then the next programmatic line was get, and I would have misses, and I would have no idea why. And that's because that TTL was 0, so it was being set and then immediately deleted.
Is that still the default, right? So as of now, you create a client without that default TTL seconds, it's going to go to 0?
Nah, it's required.
Okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure. It should be if it's not, but I'm pretty sure. Okay.
Cool.
Good questions. Really good questions. Yeah. Okay. So we have the answer, and let's just do happy path right now. I don't want to check for misses if this doesn't have an answer. Okay. So let's do const user answer equals answer dot value. So that's going to be the value inside of that cache key that we get. And so that when we get to the UI portion of it, and I swear we will here in a minute, it's going to have like a div in the middle of the screen. It'll have the question to figure out what Disney character you are, and then an input. Yes.
Is it going to be centered though?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for stopping me for asking that question. Okay. Dang it, man.
It's the hardest UI problem. It's centering a div. At least for me.
I'm going to show you some cool stuff. I'm actually going to show you some really cool stuff with the server-side rendering that I'm really excited about. Cool. So we're going to do this. So we're going to do chat response equals await chat. And this is that function that we imported. That's basically that Momento wrapper around Bedrock client. And we're going to give it the chat ID. Yeah, it's just
which is the key, right?
Yeah. Where's all my IntelliSense? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Yes, chat ID. Chat ID. That's going to be the key, so we can uniquely identify this conversation, and then the message that we're passing in is going to be that user answer. Cool. Got that. let's do this. Let question. And so what we're going to end up doing is whenever we get that first question back from the initialization, we'll set it to this question variable, and then we'll also set it here, and then down below, this switch statement is where we're going to be generating that HTML that we're going to be returning back to the client. Follow me?
Yes.
Okay. So let's create that really quick. Let's do const HTML equals, we'll just separate this to its own function because the HTML generally gets pretty big. Get HTML. And what we want to do is pass in the question, because that's what we want to display dynamically onto the screen. Eventually, we're going to come back to this, and we're going to pass in a user token when we get to that, a disposable token, what you and I were talking about the other day. But for now, we'll leave it at that. Cool. And then we'll say that the body that we're going to return HTML. Yeah. So let's create, let me get rid of this for a second. Const get HTML.
Woo! Tap.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Disney quiz, and there's the quiz. Yeah, just keep it.
Ah, I love it. So the cool thing that I wanna show you, that I'm like super pumped that I learned this week. Now this isn't for production usage, but for dev, you can actually import the Tailwind styles inside through a script like this, and you can actually use like full Tailwind CSS just this way without having to do all of that just massive configuration and setup. Interesting. I see that we don't have any audio on LinkedIn.
I'm gonna go check, so I'll mute my.
Okay. So one other thing that I'm gonna do is, for anyone that's interested that's used Tailwind before, you can actually extend it when you're using in this syntax by adding something like this. So you can configure your Tailwind config and do your normal extensions inside of it here. So these are the brand colors for Believe in Serverless. So purple, dark blue, light blue. There's a couple others, but these are the ones that we're gonna end up using. And then let's see, I will just do a very basic copy and paste from something I built before to get that background nice. So it'll be a nice gradient, kind of like what you see in the background of our stream right now. And then we'll do it. Andres, I think this is going to be, let me surround this form super fast in a div so we can get it centered on the screen for you, which is something that apparently was super important for you.
Yeah. This is one of the
many
things I've learned from OG is how to structure pages with like Flexbox and Grid. Not that we're gonna get to that today.
Yeah.
But it's pretty awesome when you use those, and kind of how it automatically takes care of a lot of their responsiveness.
Yep. Okay, so I'm content with this for now. I actually just want to see it working, honestly. And the only thing left for us to do is build this initial prompt for basically setting the stage with this LLM. And then I think we have to set a couple of environment variables to get everything hunky-dory. So let's do this. Let's do const prompt equals, and then let's figure out how we want to prompt Haiku. Let's see. You are actually do a couple different things here. Const params, because we're going to set several things. We have a system message, and this is what's going to tell Claude kind of what its mindset is. So we're going to say you are a Disney character master quiz giver, and you specialize in identifying matching characters to the people you talk to. And that's basically setting the stage for the LLM. Totally fine. The message that we're going to provide, that initial prompt, is what's going to be telling it, okay, here is what we want to do with, like, here's your first question, here's setting the stage. Did you get Giovanni sorted, Andres?
I'm trying, so I do get sound from LinkedIn. I just don't know how to respond to him because I go into LinkedIn, I don't see the comments, so I'll just do a respond all.
You can talk. You can just talk here. You can talk here.
But if you can't hear us,
oh, I guess that's true. Do a banner. Do a banner at the bottom. Okay. Yeah. While you do that, I will do the message. Actually, I have a starting. Here we go. Oh no, I don't.
I've never done a banner. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's an ugly
Hey,
link.
Nice job. Okay. You need to find out what Disney character the person you are talking to best represents. It can be a protagonist or an antagonist. Spell antagonist. Male or female. Ask a series of questions to help determine who this person is. Ask oddly personal questions and things about their hobbies that would track with a Disney character. Don't go dark.
Yeah.
Don't ask something that would embarrass the person.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The first trial, I put this in here because the first trial was pretty rough.
Do you want to know one of my secrets to make this text better visible?
Rap?
Do Alt Z. Yeah, but I'm a hotkey person, so do Alt Z. There you go.
That is actually really nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't go dark. Don't ask something that would embarrass the person. Only ask one question at a time, and they will provide you with an answer. Only ask questions that have a few word answers. Only ask the question. Don't add extra comments. When you know who this person is, then give your findings and explain why. Cool. That's what we'll do. That's a good way to start, and then we can modify if we need. And then chat ID is the key, but this is key dash history. And then question equals chat params. I think that's going to work. I feel pretty confident that that's going to work. What do you think?
It's given it. This is using your box of tools, or what you call it, bag of tricks.
Bag of tricks. Yes.
I think I trust it.
I mean, I generally am overconfident with these kinds of things. Oh wait, hold on. We're not done. We do need to add the missing environment variables. So we have the Momento API key. We have cache name. We're just going to call that one game. That is a cache name that exists in my Momento account already. I have already passed this in as a deploy variable, and then the model ID is the last one that we need to set, and that is, we're going to use Haiku because Sonnet was too slow. This is the model ID for Haiku. Now we're going to go. No, we're not.
Onward. No. Ah, man.
At least I'm catching it before we're deploying and everything. Unlike last time. There we go. I'm just gonna add invoke model to the permissions there. That one's important.
Ah, yeah. Can you, and this is my pulp, can you restrict that to is the resource the specific model ID? Could you restrict it that way, or how does that?
I think so. I think so. The docs, when I first read them, now I've built, I don't know, 40 things on top of Bedrock since it came out, and I read it initially. The docs had the star in there. So I need to go back and revisit it and see what it actually is. I'm sure there's an ARN that you need, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I've had situations where I can restrict it more than the docs. It's a common scenario. So if you can reduce a star, do try. It's always beneficial.
Yes, totally. Okay, so while that's deploying, let me just recap what we've done super fast.
We got Giovanni. So let's recap now that Giovanni can hear us.
So we built one Lambda function, just one, that will identify the IP address of the caller. It will look up and maintain a chat history with said person. It will prompt Bedrock with this nice prompt.
Yes, beautiful.
To turn it into a quiz machine. And then it gets the question out and generates this HTML, basically just a web page with that question embedded inside of it. And then we are returning that HTML in the response from Lambda with this text HTML content type, so the browser will actually render the page when we hit the endpoint right here. Did it finish deploying? Yes. All right, ready? Ready? Now, I expect this to take a couple seconds to load because it is going to be hitting Bedrock. At least it should in theory. So let's see. Darn it. Okay, I forgot no wait. You were ready for that. You were ready.
Yeah.
But hey, look at how pretty that looks. Look, it's centered in the screen. We can center it vertically if you
And it's kind of the opposite of the background from StreamYard, so it kind of mixes well. I think I like it. Maybe not.
Beautiful.
Maybe UX people are like, why? It should match the same path.
Yes. Okay, so let's fix that issue real quick. Let's throw in a wait in there, like we're supposed to.
Yep, that will do it.
And that's going to end up slowing our page load down as well. And something that I also need to do, I'm just going to kind of run, as Sam said the other day, I'm going to run a little cowboy off screen, something that we're not going to look at. Because we hit that first one, we have started our conversation inside of chat.
Oh yeah. So are you going to clear it, or what's the?
Yeah. Well, I would, but I don't actually know what my IP address is, so we'll see what happens. It's probably not going to work.
There's Sam. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. Yeah. Yes. Any day I can get somebody to say yeehaw is a good day.
Yeah, it's common lingo for me now. Or when I mess up a message and instead of saying I type in YEHA. I just add a GIF of yeehaw. It's fun.
It's awesome. Okay, so look, that actually, let's get started. Yeah.
And I'm on top of it. Become a
now it's not fully listening to us because
what is your favorite color?
That's not what I asked it to do, though. Like, I asked it to only ask the question, don't add extra comments. I guess I could probably phrase that a little bit differently. Make your response include only the question. Ooh. Don't add extra comments. So we'll do that. And for now, because I don't know my IP address and we're just going to be iterating on my machine, I am
hard-code a key. Yay, look at that.
I have a blog post called Just Hard-Code It.
Yep. I'm big on that.
Yeah. So we're going to do that and then start doing some cool stuff. Honestly, this has already been pretty cool. So we have that working. It's a pretty neat web page, right? Like it's asking
hold on. How big is the Lambda? The Lambda function.
I don't know, how do I? Oh, in like
Hold
lines of
on.
code?
Yeah, lines of code.
So it's like 45 of compute, and then it's another, 40
Still
of
less than
the
100 lines of
HTML.
code.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yes.
pretty
Now we are
incredible.
going to be adding more because we do actually have to do the interactivity part of it.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot. It's not a lot more. So I just want to see this.
It's still on the KV side of size as far as the package size, I would assume.
Yeah, it's probably pretty small. Okay, cool. It asked the same thing. That's annoying. But
Hey,
again, this is
Is
like the least capable
Gen
model.
AI becoming deterministic? I don't know.
I mean, you can provide a seed inside of these to get a deterministic answer. But that's not what we wanted. Okay. Cool. I think really from here we just actually do the real.
Yeah, actually
real progression.
re-inject the answer and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk again a bit now that we have 95 people joining us.
Ooh.
What
Nice.
we're doing. So we've created the HTML. We've asked the question to the LLM. We've maintained this chat history inside of the Lambda function. We've generated the HTML, and then we pass that HTML down to the browser to display the question. And now the crux to how we're going to do this with one Lambda function only is we need to save the answer that the person is going to be typing into Momento cache from the browser. So what we'll do is we'll add an event handler. And that event handler we'll call the Momento HTTP API to set the cache key.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're good as gold.
Let's do it. And that, I mean, you can import, I'm assuming, easily, just based probably a CDN import for the Momento cache client, and just call it via the JavaScript.
You don't even need that, man. You don't even need that.
Oh, surprise me.
Let me show you. Yes, let me show you. So the first thing that we need to do, because I know you're a security guy, and you already have said PULP, which for those of you watching stands for Principle of Least Privilege. We're going to Principle of Least Privilege this page because I don't want anybody accessing all of my resources inside of Momento. That would be a bad idea. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the term that we use is disposable token. It's basically a session token. It's an expirable token with limited scope permissions that we can safely pass down to the browser because it's going to expire in 5 minutes.
Nice. Okay.
And again, it's only scoped to what I tell it to use. So let's do that. Auth client.
Ooh, okay, this is getting good. Instantiate, no properties, no needed options and stuff.
I'm looking, I don't remember. I'm a really good DA, as you can tell. It might use the same, but we are going to use the credential provider for this.
Oh, you're meaning it might use the same token that you have provided in the environment variables?
Yes, it might use that, but I don't know, and I just want it to work. So we'll do from environment variable.
Okay.
And then we can just give it Momento.
Having different. What was that?
What were you saying? Okay. So it's still one property to initialize that. And honestly, I don't know if you need this or not. We're not going to try it just for the sake of time. So what we are going to do is we're going to create a token for it. And we are going to, let's see, where should we use that? Let's just use it here. Const token equals await auth client dot generate disposable token. Like we said, that's the term. The scope that we're going to use, let's define it up here. Const scope equals permissions. This is where we're going to give it an array of objects of permissions. So the role that we're going to put in here is write only.
Okay.
the cache is whatever the cache name was. And then the item,
Oop, what was that?
Don't know. Some autocomplete. We'll just do that. Do shorthand.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so write only. This is because it's just going to write to the cache. It shouldn't be reading from the cache. What other roles are there? I'm assuming read only and like
read only
both.
and read and write.
Okay.
Only 3. They're all system
Makes sense.
defined. Write only, read only, read and write. So we're doing write only for the cache that our conversation history is using, and we are saying you can only write to an item with this key name, and at this point it's Alan, right?
Okay.
So that's it. So we're going to create this disposable token with those permissions, and then we are going to say it expires in minutes 5.
Good enough.
Easy enough, right?
Yeah.
And then the actual auth token, so that returns an object, kind of like all the other stuff that we've seen so far. It'll say success, it'll say failure, and then inside of that is an object that has when it expires and whatnot. So really, we just want the token. I'm gonna assume that it's gonna work. So we're gonna say we're gonna pass that in to this HTML. And bake that into the HTML to get sent down to the client, token dot auth token.
Okay.
Do you follow that? Follow that, right?
Yes. So, I mean, you're going to provide as part of the HTML, you're going to get back the token, which again, it's a disposable scoped token that is fine exposing in the UI, right? Because as you said, a security guy, I call myself more just paranoid. You're exposing a token, but given the parameters you've given it for just 5 minutes and what it can do, you scope it to be safe in the UI.
Yep.
So if somebody F12s and looks at the console and finds your element and finds all the tokens, you're still fine. You're still protected. This is meant to be used there. So that's pretty cool.
Yes, and let's do that before we go on, because I'm still gonna have to. I have to look up the event handler stuff. I'm not super used to manipulating the DOM and just plain HTML, so I need to look up my reference off to the side. So while I do that, let's look at this. Let's see the token that gets generated down inside of the client itself and see that we are actually passing in these disposable values. So what I want to do is I want to show that there's this script inside of the HTML, and I'm going to refresh the page and show that it changes because we're generating that token.
A new one.
Yep.
Okay.
Now we could, if we wanted to, like if we were building an app with a bunch of different micro front ends. So maybe the Lambda function is just, a div or a section, like an individual UI component that you're piecing together, like what Amazon.com uses. You could share the same disposable token across all the components by basically saving that token inside of the cache itself, and then just pulling the cache out, pulling it out of the cache.
Makes sense.
Boom, boom, done.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Good. All right.
Oh no.
It was bound to happen sooner or later. Let me actually, I'm not logged in to the AWS portal. This is in the null check. Can you go look? And we bring up your screen?
Let me sign in.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
What you can do is actually return the error and stop listening to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me MFA.
I really thought that was gonna work, and I am slightly disappointed that I did not get it to work on the first try. But we'll get it. We'll get it. This is about as simple as it should be.
It's on the null-check account?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the function name? Quiz function. There we go. Monitor, view CloudWatch logs. Let's see who gets there faster. Alan.
You?
Probably 504 undefined. Cache using default laptop configuration suitable for development for production use.
It's not that.
This is just info. Error. Token is not defined.
Oh, easy enough then. Okay. Okay. I must have just.
You did
used it
token.token
outside
or
of
something
scope.
like that. Yeah. It's.
Oh yeah. It's okay. Here we go. I'm gonna do what you shouldn't do in JavaScript. So we're just gonna. I think it's. No. That's right. That's right. Let me show you the reference code that does work, and
It does.
you'll see
If you
what
look
it's
at the
about.
colors, the one you're consuming on the gate, it does seem like it's at a different scope.
Does it?
Look at that one. It's clear blue, and then scroll down. The other one's dark blue. Oh no, it's not anymore.
It gave me IntelliSense on it.
Yeah. Token. Let's see. Do I get a line of code? Line 37.
Line 37. Okay, that's helpful.
No. Oh, line 69.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that seems weird. G9 test quiz MJS line 69.
What was the error that I saw? What did it say?
400.
Validation exception. That's really not helpful. Maybe I'm using the wrong thing here.
Environment variable.
Let's try that. Why not, right? Because the code looks right. I really don't think the code is wrong. I just might be using the wrong thing. Classic.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it always does, right?
As much as you try to avoid it.
Who doesn't love doing things live? Let's see if we can get some encouragement from Hugo, the magical horse down here. Oh yeah, there it was.
Yay. Okay, this is gonna work.
Yay! I wish I could make these bigger. These little VS Code pets.
You can't edit the size?
I can cut?
Nope.
What if I cut the cat?
On topic.
Yes.
Same error.
Same thing.
Oh, it was the wrong one. There we go. Let me see.
Okay, so we do have, let me make sure that my environment variable is correct. It is cache_name. Yep. Item is the key.
Now I got the same one. Messages 0, content 0, text field required. This is for Bedrock. Something's wrong with Bedrock.
Oh, it's for Bedrock. Okay. Let's do, okay.
This was working. Did we change anything?
Well, it was doing the initial thing. I don't know if something, oh, yeah, here. This is my bad. So these are subsequent calls. We were using the wrong, key name.
Oh, okay.
That's it. So this is the part where, what do I usually say in these situations, Andres? See how well you know me.
Onward, push forward.
I've literally never said that once in my entire life. You know, I'm out here and I talk about how we've been working together for over 10 years, and you go and you say something like that. This is where I say guaranteed success.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, people watching this have probably heard that before and have gotten the gasp as well. So
yeah, yes, that is also true.
a guaranteed success from Alan is like 75%.
75% of the time it works every time.
Every time, yeah. Well, this is deploying.
Okay.
I can share. Okay, deployed. It's fine.
And here we go. We're gonna see our beautiful page. Oh come on. That's... what? Oh man.
We're gonna show the token, so at least try and show that.
There's nothing. There's nothing in it.
F12. You probably got a console error.
There's nothing in it.
I'm more interested in the breaking news. Justin Timberlake has something to do today.
There's, okay,
but
there is nothing in this HTML.
There's no console errors, and yeah.
No, it's returning nothing.
Is that?
Don't say expected, because no.
This is embarrassing.
It is.
Go back to the code. I mean, we're not getting an error, so I guess that's good. So it's just identifying the code path. I still see an error. Yeah, right now, which is still I still get the is this the refresh page?
Is this no?
So refresh again. I'm watching the logs. I still expect that error to come back. Nope. Let's see. I'm watching the logs, and I can share my screen just so people know what I'm looking at.
Did I break something with this? No, right? Like that should be fine.
Let me close this. So this is what I'm looking at, where we get. Okay, now it's now we're back to token is not defined.
I got it. Share my screen again. Bring it back.
So this is usually errors we would get on the console on the UI, but now we're getting them.
No, this is an error because we're not using TypeScript. It's this.
Are you starting to make a case for TypeScript, Alan?
No, everyone here was really enjoying our conversation. Right, everyone? Right?
I think. Giovanni's super excited. Serverless, so. Serverless!
Okay.
You really need to start using Samsync, Alan.
Yeah, I know. Totally.
It's a game changer.
But no, not today. Today is not that day. Next time, I will use Samsync. Next time. Yes.
So much faster on the iteration part.
It really is. I agree. I do use it sometimes. Just for whatever reason, I just decide not to use it when speed is of the utmost importance.
Oh, I don't have the...
There it is. We're back. We are back. Okay, now let's take a look. You can see here that we do have a token embedded in the HTML that was returned. So this is a disposable token, and it will only have access to write to that one specific is codenamed Alan for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, it's not going to have access to do that anymore.
And yeah, if you refresh this page, you'll get a new one.
Yes. So here, let's look. The last couple digits here is 81FQ. So if we refresh, okay, that's annoying. That means that we have a bug in this code here. We just have an error in here, and it's because we're not passing in that answer. So let me delete that chat history super fast, and then we'll go in and do it again. Okay, refresh. Okay. Hey, look, it actually said something different this time. What's your favorite color?
Well, it's the same, but it didn't have the context around it.
Yeah. Okay, so 81 something, it is now different. So we are regenerating a new token every time we refresh this page. So boom, there we go. Very happy to see that. Okay, so now we can actually make it do stuff. We can actually make it set that cache item so we can stop failing whenever we hit the refresh button. This is the part where I start going, man, this is web dev.
What happened?
Okay.
Oh, the on click.
Yeah, so we
You
actually have
just
to do it on
ask. Can you
click
just
and do
ask?
that. Yeah.
Q?
Yes.
Well, you could use the Q agent to update this
Yeah, I
file.
don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to do that here. Make this HTML. Executes an event handler
On
that
submit.
calls fetch on a URL when the submit button is pressed. Pass in the value from the answer input as the body. So what we're going to be doing is hopefully that gives us roughly where we need to go. We're going to change the URL to use the URL for the Momento HTTP API for setting a cache item. Let's see.
So I see the.
Let me copy this in and we'll take a look at it.
Sounds good.
Okay, let me fix this spacing a little bit because I can't really read it until it's properly spaced. Okay.
I understand. Quiz form.
Okay, so we're gonna grab this guy and then we're gonna get. Is this even necessary?
I'm
No,
not
it's not
sure.
doing anything with form.
Yeah, it's just getting the.
It's getting the answer. It's getting this guy. And it is okay. This is where we're gonna hit the Momento API.
Okay.
And I have that. I'm just gonna bring over a different project. Just don't mind the man behind the scene here. This is the URL here. Let me actually just copy and paste this in for reference.
Yep.
So we can do this appropriately. Okay, so the URL that we want to hit is this. That's what we're going to be doing for fetch. We're going to hit the specific region for the Momento API that we want, which is US East 1. It's going to say we're hitting the cache. We're hitting the game cache, which is the one that we're using. Just for properness, we can do process.env.cache name, so we don't have to hard code that.
Look at you.
And then in here, this is a put.
With a token.
Mm-hmm.
Sending the answer.
We can actually use this. Yeah, so we have the authorization header, and then the request body is, yeah, answer. Like, you should be able to just set it. You don't have to specify that.
Your voice kind of went away, Alan, for a little bit.
Probably because I was nervous. Yeah, I think we can do it this way. Like set it raw.
OG is saying the -1 region is interesting. Is that correct? Actually,
it is correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's referring to the cell that we're specifically hitting. Momento is built on a cell-based architecture that allows us to horizontally scale a little bit easier.
Okay.
So there's multiple instances of Momento running in this region, and that one is identifying where we want to go.
Okay.
It does routing appropriately, but this is the leader. Okay, and then we have the query string parameters here. Key equals, so we're gonna have to bring this key in. Don't let me forget to bring that in as a param.
Yeah. And then
and TTL seconds, this is a required query string parameter, equals
300 too. We've been doing 300 for everything.
Yes, that'll work. Okay. Okay. Did I delete too many things? No. Okay. And then
I do think, hold on. So that's closing the fetch, but you're not closing the event handler, the event listener. So you did delete a little bit too much.
there, perfect, right?
Whew, yeah.
And then the last thing that we're gonna want to do. Oh no, I think it was already doing it for us. Window.location.reload. So that's telling it to refresh. That's like the crux of how we can get by with one Lambda here. We're setting that value in the cache, and then we're saying reload, which basically goes to the top.
Re-renders. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
That
Key.
event
Let me
listener
forget
is
key.
on the that event listener is on the form, and that's why it was loading the form.
Are you asking me a question?
It's OG spotting flaws in our code, so it's.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's why it had it. Yep. Do you
That would've been an
still
interesting error.
have the query to get that dot? Okay, yeah. So he just re-added it.
Yep. Okay.
Get all those terminals. Keeps opening a new one. Opening a new one.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and delete our chat history out of the cache, and just show you guys what I've been doing. I'm on the Momento console right now, and this just allows me to have a graphical user interface on top of the cache. So I'm just doing Allen-history. Okay, looks like it took us longer than 5 minutes to write that code, so it expired automatically, and it's not found. So what I was doing is I was hitting find, the value was showing up here, and then there's a delete button that shows up over here. So I was just deleting it out to run us through that initial path. Okay, are we ready? I'm not going to say guaranteed success yet, but that would be pretty cool.
I'm tracking the logs.
Pretty neat. Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite color? Blue. I guess I should probably bring up this. And we'll see. Submit.
Did it call? What is your favorite food?
Hey, let's see if it works. Okay. I'm just gonna say pizza. Maybe it's gonna think I'm like a Disney Ninja Turtle. Do you have any pets? Yes, I have a farm.
I'm trying to figure out what it's gonna assume you are.
60 animals. Yeah. Yes. Wow, that's a lot of pets. So judgy. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity?
That's probably everybody's reaction. So it's.
That is true. Interesting. Do you prefer the mountains or the beach?
Ooh.
I feel like I'm building a dating profile. Oh, I hope it tells me I'm Simba.
That's my favorite movie too.
Oh, look at this.
I think you're. Oh, Simba, you are.
Yes. See, I feel like it was just using that last one to anchor. Lame. Yeah. Okay, but what did we just do? We just finished it.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's it. That's it. That's all it was. Now, obviously, we can add more lines to make it look a little bit nicer, but we did it. It's done.
Redo the prompt if you want to get more personal and all that stuff. We could
let's
probably tell it to not ask you what your favorite Disney movie is, so it doesn't anchor the response.
Yes.
I want to go back.
At this point, there's a good prompt engineering.
There's a good conversation going on here. So it's Sam Locke was asking if there's an easier way to write that code with the HTML.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and OG responded. I mean, you could probably return a script file to the client. So yeah, you can probably do it separately and then inject it within the code.
Yep. You could do handlebars as well. You know, you could have a template file and pass in that template file data and have it render and then return that back down. There's a lot of different ways. You know, we're just doing it quick and dirty.
And this is using pure HTML and JavaScript, right? So you can obviously do server-side rendering with more advanced frameworks.
Yeah, PHP. What it's made for. But if you want to use JavaScript,
Yeah.
Then here you go. Okay, let's do you. Let's do yours.
Okay.
I deleted it. If anybody else wants to take it, here I will. Oh wait, hold on. Before we do that, let's make sure we're not all sharing the same cache key. We should be able to do this now.
Baba Pug says we need some AI generated images of lions eating pizza. That would...
Yeah, this I think I bantered a little bit longer than I wanted to today. So what I had as a stretch goal for today that we didn't talk about, Andres, was using an image generating AI instance or LLM to basically come up with a version of that character that is doing the hobbies. Yeah, like what OG said. Easy to do. Super easy to do.
I mean, it's all hooked up at this point, so that's awesome.
Yes. So while this is deploying, let's look at how simple this is and just kind of wonder at, I can't believe that worked. I mean, it was so easy. It was so easy. So
yeah, because you're kind of, it's not recursive, but it's you can tell it asks 10 questions, right? And you remember that game? It's like ask 20 questions and it'll figure out what the person or the thing you're thinking about. That's pretty incredible.
Yes. Okay, so that is loaded. Let me see if it actually works before I send out the URL.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, so many questions. It's not listening at all. What's your color? What's your favorite food? Do you have any pets? I feel like I'm talking to Buddy the elf. What's your favorite dream vacation destination? What's your favorite hobby?
Do you like hugs?
Yeah, do you like hugs? So if you guys want to take it, go ahead. Here, I will share it. Don't do it too much because this is on my AWS account, and I do have to pay for the Haiku usage. I will probably take this down afterward, but
yeah, I think it's the one I own, but
oh yeah, that's true.
Still,
no, the key is not out anymore. I switched it to IP address.
Okay.
Love it. Okay, so let's if you want to go through it, you certainly can, but I want to go through the code one more time because the whole point of today was let's build it simply. And we were able to build it simply because we were able to build a full stack app in one Lambda function.
Yeah.
That's because crazy. We were using Momento, which is able to be accessed both in the front end and the client side. And then we were also, using that my little chat wrapper in my bag of tricks that keeps the conversation history alive. So I guess, we have to technically factor in those lines of code. That's 70 lines of code with all the comments in the JS doc. But in here, from 7 to 57, 50 lines of code to do that, plus the...
I'm getting a lot more questions, Alan.
Lines of HTML. Maybe you're a difficult person to figure out. Here, I'm going to bring you on stage.
I'm Olaf.
Oh, man.
It asks for my sense of humor, what if I had a sweet tooth, if I daydreamed. Olaf is lovable, quirky snowman who is often daydreaming, has a great sense of humor, and a sweet tooth for things like warm hugs. So thanks, Ed.
Aw.
He likes hugs too. Your love of green, rock music, chili mango as a snack also aligns with Olaf's fun, loving, and unique personality.
Does this sound right?
I don't know.
You're totally an Olaf. Nah. Let me think about. I mean, you do have interesting facts, like when Olaf talks about water having memory, but. I don't know.
Yeah.
This was really cool. This was super cool. We built a chat app with one Lambda function in, approximately 50 lines of code, 100 if you want to, count in the reusable stuff. It's like OG got cool. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog.
Who's that?
You kind of look like
alligator?
him. No, he's the voodoo man.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Wow. Oh yeah, okay, so you got
first
the
villain.
picture.
Yeah,
There it is.
first villain on that. I am extremely excited we got that to work. That was very cool. 50 lines of code, one endpoint, full stack. We can make it look nicer with more tailwind, but
Yep.
how cool.
That's
It
pretty
doesn't
cool.
have to be harder than that.
Sam got Moana. That's awesome. People are trying. We should save the responses and then didn't do that, Alan. I'm pretty impressed.
You do watch,
it's because it's like you said, it's full stack quote because it's full backend, but presenting it on a browser, hitting Bedrock, right? So hitting an AI, Momento cache, two different types of caching, right? So it's the just key value and the sorted list to keep the history of the questions, and it's figuring out what you are. Okay, so
now I have to two more things. I know we're kind of over time. That's kind of a hard one. Ed asked if he could get the link. So
let me put it. Yeah, I can get it in the LinkedIn. It doesn't StreamYard doesn't share links. I'll send it to you, Ed. I'll send it.
So I have two more things for us before we wrap up because we are slightly over time, Andres.
Wrong link.
One, we need to
Wrong link.
address what Sam said. The reason you don't do things like this and see quizzes is because it is easy to do query injection and basically take over the query or the conversation inside of the LLM. Goodness, Andres, let me take you off the screen. So, that totally fine. This is a proof of concept. That's really what we're trying to do here. There are guardrails. We could have easily done something else to make it do something else. But the big thing for me here, like the big takeaway, is how fast that was. Like not necessarily for building it, but how fast that operation is. Like, let's think about this. In the 1.5 seconds that it took to do that page load, it was saving our answer to Memento cache. It was invoking a Lambda function. It was pulling that value out of the cache. It was loading a full conversation history out of the cache. It was querying an LLM. It was then subsequently saving everything that we've done back into the cache, generating that HTML, and then serving it, and then rendering in 1.5 seconds. Wow. That is impressive.
You did do some research on using the faster response time, right? To be able to get to this type of response. So that's pretty cool that it's actually pretty responsive. Like going through the quiz didn't feel like it was taking. Going through the quiz, it didn't feel like it was taking long. It's like it's fine. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice.
But in addition, it's how many? What was the count? That was like four calls to the cache as well, in addition to running that LLM in 1.5 seconds. So super fast. We got
Lilo.
We got a question. How much slower was Sonnet? It was about 11 seconds just for the LLM. So a little bit too slow for rendering things in the front end. So, okay, Andres, we're over time. But last thoughts?
This was incredibly insightful for me. I know you were super pumped about the server-side rendering and doing all that. You shared a little bit during the week, but I was truly waiting for today to get the full-blown experience on it. So this was pretty cool. I love it.
Yes. The back and forth communication, the things that you can do with that server-side rendering, and I'm really using it pretty loosely, for all the PHP career devs. Me saying server-side rendering is probably stabbing them in the heart every time. But controlling what goes down to the client, we did it securely. We did it with tokens that expire in 5 minutes that are limited only to one specific cache key. And it's the possibilities are endless. To me, it opens up a whole lot of opportunities. And so I got distracted by someone saying yeehaw. I always get distracted by a yeehaw. There we go.
Oh man, we keep clicking it.
There we go. Yes, we both tried to bring it up. But like even expediting the proof of concepts, like because we had a user interface in here that we needed to do, and we didn't have to set up any framework. We didn't have to use Next.js or Astra or whatever anybody's using right now. It's just, well, let's just use HTML because we can do everything that we need in HTML and JavaScript. So
yeah, like you said, a proof of concept from this, right? Like Sam figured out, it's like you can inject some stuff. So you would obviously protect it, and as it grows, you can then dissect it a little bit and separate it as needed, right? You don't want a 2,000 line Lambda function. A full-blown web application on a single Lambda would probably not be super great. So
no.
Use common sense.
No. Yes. Okay, so final, how simple can you make it? One Lambda function, 50 lines. That's it.
Nice.
Cool.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
Very impressed.
Yeah. Yes. If you guys have any ideas for what you would like Andres and I to build simply, please tell us. Not necessarily right now, but you can comment on this stream if you're watching it on demand anywhere that we're streaming it. You can message us in the Discord as well, the Believe in Serverless Discord. Anywhere, find us, let us know what you want us to build simple. We'll think of a creative way to do it in a way that might make you think a little bit differently. So excited about this series, Andres. I am really pumped. The way that this one went makes me think this is going to be a cool one.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, learning and trying things and maybe failing, right? So maybe it's not as simple. We can try new things. So this was cool and excited to keep trying things simply.
Yes. All right. Thank you again, everybody, and have a great weekend.
See you, everybody. Adios.